Okay, and just so you both know, this call is being recorded. Let me share my screen. Okay, guys, welcome. Um, so it's great to see both of you. We may have some other people join the call, but I do want to get started because this is an hour. So I just want to make sure that we are respectful of everyone's time. First off, I just want to congratulate both of you for taking the first step towards better health and weight loss. And of course, some of you might be thinking, hey, this isn't my first time, not my first rodeo. It's been going on for so long. You might be stuck, can't lose weight. You just want to lose 10 pounds. Maybe glucose is high and you need to get it under control, or maybe there's other dysregulations that you're experiencing. You might just be craving sugar and you get triggered when you eat anything that's sugary. Or maybe you're just consistently unraveling in the late afternoons or the evenings, or maybe you've just tried other things in the past, but you really haven't found a sustainable long-term solution. So not to worry, you're in the right place. I am your host. I'm Stacey Portugal. I'm a board certified life coach. I am also certified in nutrition, and I've been helping people lose weight for over 10 years. And I myself struggled with fad dieting. There was just so much information out there that for 20 years, every time the latest and greatest diet book came out, I would go running to the bookstore, and finally I found a plan that worked for me. It provided me support. It provided me accountability. The problem was that I could not reach my personal goal, and I was very frustrated. So fast forward several years later, I decided to further my own education so that I could help myself. And once I understood the role of sugar and carbohydrates in my middle-aged body, I was able to formulate a plan that worked for me and that I've been successful with, and so many others have been successful with in my practice. So this is really how I created Shake the Sugar. It's based on science plus my 10 years plus of experience working with others and understanding the role of behavior and other factors to make weight loss easy and sustainable. Naturally, only you can make decisions about what works best for you and your body. And before making any lifestyle changes or changes to your diet, you should certainly consult with your physician or another qualified practitioner that you use. So now it's time to sit back. I ask you to silence your phones, close the open tabs on your computer, and give yourself the gift of time so that we can fully focus for the next hour. All right, girls, before we begin, here's a few helpful things that you're going to want to have in front of you. Your copy of the Shake the Sugar program, that will be really helpful, plus the Shake the Sugar meal planning worksheet. I would just have a pen and paper for notes, your questions written down, and you can write them down now and write them down as we go, because I am going to open it up for Q&A at that time. Certainly your willingness to learn and be part of the group. This is a 1-hour call. I'm going to be as timely as I possibly can be. And also, I'm going to be giving you some bonus material at the end. It's the Shake the Sugar Smoothie Low Sugar Builder. So it's a formula sheet that you can build your own low sugar smoothies. And I'll be giving you another bonus. It's called the Basic Skills for Weight Loss. And if there's anything going on during the presentation that you feel needs my attention, go ahead and just type in the chat box, since you are both on mute. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take you off of mute for just a quick second, and go ahead and you can take yourself off, but go ahead and just introduce yourselves really quick, and just in 1 or 2 sentences, let me know what brings you to the call today. So Tony, let's start with you.
Okay. Tony Sanders. I live in Kansas City, and I am listening in because I just need a reset on my eating habits. I ate too many carbs and crave sugars after dinner mostly, and deal with bloating, constipation, some digestive issues. So I just feel like I need to, I've had a lot of stomach issues, so my relationship with food right now is not a good one. And I just need a reset and just bring down the carbs a little, bring down the sugars a little, and get on a healthy plan.
Sounds good. So I'm hearing that now. Has the bloating, digestion, the relationship with food, has that been going on for a while, or is that just more recent?
More recent. I had a rough winter. I was diagnosed with a parasite, which I'm not sure was actually a right diagnosis. I think stress plays a big role in my stomach issues, but there certainly are, a few foods that I've encountered that seem to make it worse. So trying to incorporate all of those things into one.
Sure. Well, welcome to the call. We're happy to have you. And I love Kansas City. I visit there from time to time. My niece is from there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little familiar with it.
Okay. Well,
all right.
Say that.
Okay, so I'm going to mute you, Anne.
Oh, good morning, ladies. I'm still in my pajamas. I'm on the West Coast.
No problem.
I just only got up a little bit ago. Yeah. But basically, I'm in pretty good shape. Sugar used to run my life, certainly when I was much younger, growing up. I was total sugarholic, and it took me all the way through my 20s and I guess really into my 30s until finally, I just worked through it and I just got off the addiction to it. And so I don't feel like it runs my life. Yes, I do notice at night often. It's like, oh, I'd like a little something sweet. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but I've really got it under moderation. It's just like, I used to just eat, cookies and cake, and I just don't do any of that anymore. It's just not that interesting. I don't like how it makes me feel. I think what really helped me cure it was it was the sugar hangover the next day, just like alcohol. And finally I realized this is not worth it, because I think as we age, you just don't process it the way you once did. You don't, snap back so quickly. So, but I'm always open, tips and, how, I see my young college daughter, she's totally addicted to sugar. She's trying not to eat sugar, but eating so much fruit. I said, well, it's kind of sort of the same thing when you do it that way. So maybe I've got some tips to share with her as well. And I will share that, I was a vegan for many years and a vegetarian, and I now eat animal protein, a little bit of chicken, poultry, and fish. And I definitely notice that when I have those meals that have that animal protein, with a big abundance of vegetables and maybe a little grain, I don't want to.
Do you feel more satiated?
Feel totally more satiated, right? Okay. And I look back now, all those years of eating a grain and vegetable-based diet. You finish that meal and it was like, okay, what's next? Where's the sweet? And yes, that's the whole connection to the carbs and how it breaks down in your body. And
right. And I just wanted to mention one other thing. You mentioned, nighttime kind of or something sweet. And honestly, I think that's perfectly normal. So I don't want to bash anybody for having a sweet tooth. We all have sweet teeth. We all have a sweet tooth, and it's very natural. It's just one of the it's one of the natural flavors on our tongue. And so to want something sweet here and there is perfectly normal. In fact, I'm going to be doing some Facebook Lives on taming temptation, like taming that sweet tooth on a low carb diet. But I'll get to that in just a few minutes. I see Ginny is joining us too. So Ann, I'm going to mute
Stacey,
you.
one quick thing. I do want to go print out. I'm sorry, I came unprepared. I want to print out what you told me, what you'd like us to have, because I think that would be helpful to follow along. So I'm just going to
No problem. I'm going to get started, but no problem if you need to walk away.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, Ginny, I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, so we're gonna get started. And certainly, if you have questions, write them down. I'm sure Ann will be back with us in just a moment. That's no problem, Ann. So how sugar is messing with you. And I think most of us agree that, you know, sugar does mess with us. And there are so many hidden sources of sugar that you really just not suspecting, whether it's your healthy smoothies or bars or that barbecue sauce that you find yourself overindulging on. And look, I'm not vilifying sugar, and I'm not going to ever say that you will never ever, or you should never ever again eat sugar or wheat. But today we're really addressing your overall lifestyle, and that's, you know, that 90% of what you're doing. Honestly, our bodies are not designed to process all the carbs that we have in the standard American diet. We live in a processed food culture, and the wheat as it is today is such poor quality. It's been hybridized a gazillion times. It's got more gluten in it, more starch than ever before. And this is why we're all of a sudden, you know, this whole awareness about gluten and gluten intolerance or gluten sensitivities are coming up. And that's why you're seeing a lot more, you know, chronic diseases, obesity, metabolic dysfunction. You might even have other mysterious symptoms. You know, someone brought up bloating and digestion. Also just the idea of, you know, even like things like acne, you know, you're getting like adult acne or rashes. This could all be the result of just too much sugar and wheat in your diet. And I also need to mention the problem with artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners can really mess with us as well. And I don't want to get, that's a whole different topic, but certainly artificial sweeteners is something we need to be paying attention to. In my 10 plus years of helping people lose weight, the one thing I have noticed is that people who consume a lot of artificial sweeteners, I'm talking more than 3 servings a day, approximately, I notice that they do have a difficult time losing weight. And there is a bit of research to support that. So, but for Shake the Sugar, the only thing we're going to count is carbohydrates, because at the end of the day, what really matters for, you know, your weight and many of these diseases that I mentioned, what really matters most importantly is your blood sugar, and it's all tied to your hormones. You know, all your hormones speak to each other, and it's the role of insulin that we're really focused on today. And I'm sure you all know this, but your hormones all speak to each other. So whether it's insulin, estrogen, cortisol, it almost doesn't matter. The bottom line is the ones that you have more control over, when one is out of balance, it could just send you on a spiral of other things. So, okay, so this is a really important prep. It's in your guide. I highly suggest that you follow this prep before you begin the plan. You don't have to begin the plan this second. I'd rather you take a few days, however long that you need, and properly prep so that you have more chances of success. Here is the ways that you can prep. The first is manage your environment. So here's what I mean by that. Whether it's your kitchen, your office, your car, your television room, your den, any room that is an eating environment for you needs to have clean, shake the sugar friendly foods available. I realize that we live with other people, maybe we're living with husbands, partners, children, whatever it is, your food should be front and center for you. If there are things that you're purchasing for other people that are not shake the sugar friendly and that are going to tempt you, they should really be out of sight, out of your line of vision as much as you can. Some tools for success: measuring cups and spoons. I always recommend a digital food scale. I like to recommend a journal as well. So a journal is great for maybe taking your measurements, your weight, maybe you're writing down just how you're feeling that day, a diary type thing. Maybe you're just writing down your diet or you're making other notes. Quickly, Ginny, I hope you can hear me, but if you don't mind muting yourself, I don't have the ability to mute you for some reason. So if you don't mind just hitting mute on your phone so we could just get rid of some of the background noise. Thank you. So, all right, so I would recommend getting on the scale and taking your body measurements. Could be just hips, bust, thighs, could be, arms, whatever feels important to you. You do not need to weigh yourself more than once a week. And you do not need to take your measurements more than once a month. I also recommend that you have a clear vision of your why so that you feel you can call upon that as motivation when you need it. And there's just a couple of questions in the guide that's going to help you get more clarity. Also, make sure you are part of the Facebook group. This is the place to go where you can ask me questions directly. The name of the Facebook group is Go From Cravings to Control with Low Carb Living. And you'll see in the chat box, if you look in the chat box, link 1, what I would do, ladies, is I would go ahead and click on that link right now, allow the tab to open, but just come back to this call. The reason I say that is because once this call is over and I end the meeting, you'll have to find that link. So I would just go ahead and just click on it right now. And this way, I don't know why that just happened. And this way you will have the link available to you. And also, if you have specific questions for this program, all you have to do is use the hashtag. That's hashtag Q4Stacy. Just notice how I spell my name. Okay, let's move on. Shake the Sugar guidelines. Shake the Sugar requires only that you pay attention to carbohydrates. It's the only hard limit on this program. So when it comes to proteins and fats, you can eat them till satiety, just as Anne mentioned. When you eat these kind of foods till satiety, you're really not likely to overeat carbs and proteins and fats. Certainly, it's something you can play with going forward. That's the way to really personalize this plan. But the hard limit is on carbohydrates. So for the purpose of Shake the Sugar, that's the only thing you need to pay attention to. The hard limit being 25 grams of carbs or less per meal. And we'll get more into that in just a moment. As a reminder, as questions come up, just jot them down. Shake the Sugar calls for 3 meals per day. So you're going to pick your protein, and then you're going to pick 2 sources of fat as a minimum, and then your carb source. And it's your carb, you're going to be more mindful and respect that hard limit to stay within 25 grams. Also, some of you, depending on where you're coming from, may experience what we call the keto flu. We use the word keto as in ketogenic, but this is not a ketogenic diet. However, some of you are going to feel it and some of you won't. It depends on how many carbs you were eating previously and your choices on this plan. It's the same thing that an athlete feels when they, run for a distance or exercise outdoors. It's a really hot day. And all of a sudden they notice that their electrolytes are out of balance. They might be a little lightheaded. They might even be a little nauseous. So this is a very normal thing and it's nothing to be concerned about. And I'm going to explain more about this in just a second. Let's talk about yellow light foods. Yellow light foods are things like cheeses, plain yogurt, nuts, seeds, cottage cheese, nuts, flowers, quinoa, steamed rice, baked potatoes, beans, and fruit. And the reason that they're yellow light could be for a variety of things. Maybe they're just a mixed macronutrient. Maybe they're primarily a starch and you need to pay attention to them. Maybe they just, they have natural sugars like yogurt. So these are not no foods. They're just foods that you need to be aware of that you should be approaching with caution. Protein. So with each meal, you can enjoy however much you want. And you can eye it if you choose. You can choose from all the basic stuff, fish, beef. I would limit the fatty cuts, to as much as possible. But of course, that's up to you. You can have eggs or egg whites. You can have cured meats. Again, I would, just for health purposes, I would sort of take it easy with that. Buy ones with the least amount of sugar and additives. So sausage, again, the same thing. You can have canned tuna, canned salmon, anything that's real, that's been hunted, that's been fished. You certainly can have soy and tofu, and that is a yellow light food. You can have cheese as your source of protein and plain yogurt, not fruited yogurt. Fat, we're going to choose at least 2 from the list below with each meal. I would go ahead and measure them. So things like a quarter of an avocado, butter, coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, ghee, heavy cream, olives, cream cheese. And then again, you'll notice the yellow light fats like nuts, seeds, nut flours, and cheeses. Notice that cheese is in both categories. It's just a mixed macronutrient food. Okay, guys, and here's your hard limits on carbohydrates. So again, for more specifics, refer to your guide, but salad greens are unlimited. So have as many as you want. That's a great thing to eat till you're satiated. It's a great filler and perfectly healthy. Refer to the list for what I would consider salad greens. Also, low starch vegetables, they are not unlimited, but with every meal, you could have up to 2 cups. That would equal 25 grams. Fruit, 1 apple is about 25 grams. A banana, on the other hand, it's a little harder to measure in terms of half or a quarter because bananas come in so many different sizes. So when it comes to fruit, you can refer to your list for a quick, easy guide. But if there's a particular fruit that you love, I would suggest using a reference like MyFitnessPal or anything on the internet. You can look at some sort of food label if you're buying just a plain frozen fruit. But 25 grams per serving, that's your hard limit. Starchy grains and carbs. So you're only going to choose from the options that I've listed in your guide. I want you to also write down oatmeal. Oatmeal you can certainly have. I would go for gluten-free, and it should absolutely be the plain, least processed oatmeal. A 1/3 cup dry is your serving size. That makes about 2/3 of a cup. Also, for the keto flu that I talked about a little bit earlier, I recommend 1 to 2 cups per day of the vegetable soup. The recipe is in your guide, Or if you want to buy like a healthy, salty broth, that's perfectly fine as well. And of course, how you feel is going to be based on where you're coming from before you come to Shake the Sugar. So you have to kind of judge for yourself. That's why I just recommend that everybody just drink a cup of broth every afternoon, just like you would tea. Pretty simple. Okay. If you are heavily into sugar and processed carbs, and I'm going to give you like a gram amount, if you're eating more than 150, 200 grams of carbs, and you may not know how many grams you're eating, but if you feel like that is a heavy part of your diet, I would suggest using that cold turkey approach for the first 3 days. So you can customize in any way you see fit. One thought to go cold turkey is just to stay away from all the yellow light foods just for 3 days, and no artificial sweeteners at this time. But be sure to eat as much protein and fat to satisfy your appetite without feeling stuffed, of course, and follow the 25 grams of carbs with each meal or snack. So in other words, don't eat the yellow light carbs, but you can have your salad greens, you can have 2 cups of vegetables with every meal, no problem. And absolutely, if you're in this category, have 1 to 2 cups of the broth or the soup every day. And then after the first 3 days, I would just add the yellow light foods back a little bit more cautiously. So let's take a quick break. You can all, I'm going to unmute those that I can. And Ginny, I see that you're on too. What questions can I answer for you at this time? Anything come to mind?
I'm trying to get back to the original page after I clicked on the Facebook page. I can't get my full screen back.
Do you see the tabs up? What kind of computer do you have?
A Mac.
So you should see tabs up front. And it should say like Zoom or webinar or maybe my name.
Okay.
Try that. Any other questions about Shake the Sugar before I move on? Because I'm going to talk about meal timing next. So I'll go ahead and mute you guys if no one has anything. And don't worry, I'll give you another opportunity to ask some questions. We're going to be talking about meal timing. So you might want to locate your meal planning worksheet. For a quick moment, I would also like to talk about my flagship program. If you like this format, this is face-to-face coaching, in the world of video conferencing. And if you like this, if you like support and guidance and you would like to take it to the next level, the next group coaching session, which I call my custom carb solution, launches at the end of August. All the information and support you're receiving right now is free, but obviously I could not afford to do this for you without having paying clients who have been benefiting from this program for the last couple of years. Shake the Sugar is certainly the first step, but the possibilities are endless. Gaining your health, achieving long-lasting weight loss, understanding and managing cravings for sugar and carbs, dealing with plateaus, and customizing a plan to suit your taste and lifestyle is an ongoing process. Group coaching, my custom carb solution, provides the support and accountability to finally manage the cravings, stay on plan consistently, and lose and maintain your weight loss. It's really the same format as this, but it's individualized for your needs. So for those who are ready for support and accountability and want to show up in a way like you never have before, this might be a really great option for you. It is an 8-week group coaching experience. It's all about finding your perfect low carb solution, and it's got a 3-tier approach. Tier 1 is just getting started with low carb living. Tier 2 is your low carb life. That's where we begin the process of customization, and you get all the support and accountability you need to make low carb living work for you and your goals. Tier 3, and not everybody is going to get there. In fact, most won't. Most people are going to get to goal on tier 2, but for some people, they're going to be very comfortable, and they're going to be so comfortable that they're going to maybe even more naturally slide into a ketogenic way of life. And of course, like I said, most of my clients don't even need to be on a ketogenic diet to get to goal with me. So all of this comes with a private check-in with me, a weekly live group coaching call with me. It's face-to-face video conference, just like we're doing. And we have a private Facebook group for in-between support. Here's just a quick summary of some of the topics that we're covering. How to stay motivated, understanding the difference between low carb, keto, paleo. We're really debunking diet fads. Methods to determine your perfect low carb solution that we tweak to suit your needs as we go. Exactly what to eat and how much of it for you. Not losing weight and plateaus, making macros simple and easy so you understand them and can become your own coach and nutritionist. Emotional eating, avoiding deprivation and maintenance, traveling, restaurants, and social events. I have had so many super happy clients. I've gotten emails and text messages, and I will just quickly share a few words of what I've heard with you. This is from a client who was really struggling with her blood sugar. She was getting high readings. She was told that she was pre-diabetic, and she actually stopped taking her blood sugar because it was stressing her out so much. And after working with me, she began checking her blood sugar today, and it dropped, and it was normal. It was approaching normal between 110 and 120. She went to a place of, hey, if I don't know what it is, it's not happening. And then she said to me, this has truly given me hope that I can get into a healthy place. She just needed to share with me. And she said, since you've helped me for so many years with my weight and health struggles, you're my gift of health. And I get very touched by all this feedback that I get. And then I got a text message on Facebook. You've changed my life for real. Why didn't I follow your keto diet advice years ago? I'm 55 years old. I've tried diets my entire life. Nothing worked for long until now. While I've never been obese, I've always wanted to lose about 15 pounds. I never dreamed I'd lose 27 pounds in about 3 months. And I've kept it off since September of 2017. Even eating occasional desserts and bits of other, quote, naughty carbs. I feel so much healthier and happier. My only complaint is that I had to spend so much money buying new clothes. Thank you. So I hope that all of you will join the wait list. It's really, it does not create any obligation on your part. However, it will provide you with first dibs on early bird pricing, which is $100 off, and that represents a 20% savings. Plus, all those on my wait list get a bonus, and that is 44 routines that optimize weight loss. If you look in the chat box right now, you'll see the link for the wait list. Again, just like Facebook, I would go ahead and click on the link now, because once we're done with this presentation, that link does go away. But early bird pricing is limited only to the first 5 people who claim it. So joining the wait list does give you 24 hours in advance notice of open cart, and it doesn't open to the public for another 24 hours after you're notified, and it gives you an opportunity to join at a way cheaper price. All right, so let's jump into meal planning. I would make sure you've got paper or just that meal planning worksheet with you. Okay, so I'm going to give you some breakfast ideas, breakfast, lunch, and dinner ideas, and we'll talk about snack ideas in just a moment. I'm going to take this off of, well, I won't take it off of sharing, but I will unmute all of you so that we can really have a discussion so that you can do your own personal planning for what, based on your own taste. So here's a couple of ideas, and I want you guys to tell me if that sounds good or if there's another idea you come up with. I love for breakfast, I love eggs. And so 3 eggs with a healthy sausage and a quarter of an avocado. You could even have a cup of berries with it. I think that's really delicious. Or maybe, believe it or not, sometimes I eat salmon for breakfast. I think it's delicious. I'll eat any protein for breakfast. I'm not in the standard American diet of, you got to have bagels and waffles. So something like 4 ounces of salmon, you want to choose a few fats with it. So maybe sprinkle a couple of tablespoons of crushed nuts and drizzle with some avocado oil, and then served with a half a cup of cooked quinoa. And when I cook my quinoa, I just cook it in broth and I add Himalayan salt to it. What are your thoughts about these breakfast ideas?
How about quick breakfast ideas?
That's a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. And actually, I'm going to put right now these bonus PDFs for you. But I do have a low sugar smoothie builder. And what's so cool about the smoothie builder is that it's completely low sugar. So it's got the proteins, it's got the fats, but it's not loaded with sugar. You can certainly add some fruit to it if you want, but you don't have to. So I think that's a great idea. I love smoothies. Tony, do you use like a protein powder? Do you use yogurt? What are your thoughts on that?
I could do either. I'm a little sensitive to dairy, so I don't like to do a lot of dairy. Almond milk is my friend. And then we have been getting these protein shakes, the Premier brand from Costco.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty
low.
Yeah,
I like those.
Yeah, they're pretty low in sugar. They're very high protein, and I used to mix a banana in with those, but I think maybe it's the banana that's been upsetting my stomach. I'm not sure if it's extreme amounts of high protein in one sitting upset my stomach, but I need to play around with that a little bit.
Okay. I mean, if you can find even a high quality protein powder, I personally like, it's made by the Garden of Life, and it's called Raw Protein, and it is a vegan source. And I have a really sensitive stomach too, so I relate to your struggle. And this has always agreed with me. And if you look at, I'm going to put up the bonus in just a minute, but if you look at this sheet, you'll see that it has a whole bunch of interesting ways to create smoothies, whether you're adding nuts or oils or seeds or avocado. So I think that's a really great, because what you could actually do, Tony, is you could fill your blender the night before with everything except for the wet ingredients.
Right.
So that all you really have to do is put in, your almond milk or your ice, whatever it is, anything last minute, and just blend it up.
Okay.
They make a lot of healthy craft sausages too that might be just quick for you to literally grab and go out the door.
Right.
Oh, one other thing, you guys, what about hard-boiled eggs?
Yeah.
That's always a great grab and go.
Right.
Any other breakfast thoughts? What about lunch? I love the salad bar salad. Those of you who've been with me for a while, I think, Jenny, you did the 10-day detox. And I'm huge on salad bar salad. Like, I will create just a great leafy green salad with some low starch vegetables. I usually do 2 ounces of protein and a few sources of fat and some oil and vinegar. And in fact, that's going to be my lunch because I haven't eaten yesterday. That'll be my first meal of the day after this call. But even like a leftover dinner or, you know, where you can have whatever protein you had from the night before, and you can go ahead and just mix that with a cup of low starch vegetables. You can add whatever fat sources you like. You can, you know, maybe you're cooking with oil, maybe you want to sprinkle on nuts, maybe you enjoy avocado with some rice. Anyone here a big fan of leftovers like I am?
Yes.
Love leftovers. In fact, purposely, whenever I make dinner, there are always leftovers. I intentionally make more than we need so that I have some quick meals the next day, whether I'm going to eat it for breakfast or for lunch. I like to have ready cooked protein and vegetables or salads just ready to go in my house. What about dinner? What are your thoughts for dinner? Guys are all off mute, so whenever you're ready, you can just pipe in. Any thoughts?
Dinners are the easiest for me because I usually stick to the protein, vegetables, and a little bit of carb. It's after dinner where I get the sugar cravings.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're getting sugar cravings, what are you typically indulging in?
Like I love a little piece of chocolate after dinner, like a Dove.
Okay.
Piece of Dove chocolate. I don't like overindulge because when I do, like I had birthday cake last night and I had a stomach ache almost immediately from having one piece of cake.
Okay.
So I don't go overboard with it. I don't really do ice cream. But sometimes I'll have the one piece of chocolate and then I want more and then I want more and then I want more. But it's usually just like, okay, 3 M&Ms after that. And then a graham cracker or that kind of thing.
So it sounds to me, Tony, like that one piece of chocolate is really triggering you to sort of dive into the pantry or whatever.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yet I'll sit there all night. If I try not to have it, I'll sit there all night. It's all I can think about.
What would happen if you had a planned snack at night?
Maybe that would be better.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I'm full from dinner, so it's not like I'm still.
So you're not
starving.
physically hungry?
No. Mm-mm.
Anyone have any suggestions about nighttime strategies? And that's a whole nother topic for sure, but we have time if anyone wants to help Tony out, make some suggestions.
I mean, I know all the tricks, which are, you know, distract yourself or get up and go move. And now that I've got this new puppy, I think after dinner I will start just going for walks.
Yeah.
And see if that doesn't just distract me. And drinking water, and you know, I know all those tactics, but it doesn't make my mind stop. But maybe if I cut, you know, the sugars and the carbs out during the day, I won't crave that anymore.
I absolutely agree with you on that. I do think that this is just a little bit of a low-level addiction, and I hate to, you know, compare it to an addiction, but I do think that that's what it is, and there's a lot of research that tells us that. So cutting the sugar during the day and being more mindful of how many carbs you're eating is going to certainly help with that. And trying out different strategies and trying out even I'm a huge believer in crowd it out before you replace it completely. So maybe crowd out the sweets, all the unplanned eating with a snack that you're allowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'm going to be doing, I'm calling it Sugar Free for 3. it's next week's Facebook Live, and there's 3 of them on Go From Cravings to Control. It's going to be August 6th at 11 a.m., August 7th at 8 a.m., and August 8th at 3 p.m. And the topics are, on August 6th, we're going to talk about top tips to avoid temptation. August 7th, we'll talk about satisfying your sweet tooth on a low sugar diet. So this could be a good one for you. And on August 8th, this one is going to be a good one for you also, because we are going to talk about late afternoon and evening eating.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely join us for that.
Okay, I'll see about that.
Okay, great. So guys, your bonuses are up. They are in the chat box. Once again, as I mentioned, I would click on this pretty much right now, so that, because once we end the call, the chat box disappears, and I'm sure you want your bonuses. That Shake the Sugar smoothie builder is so yummy. I actually made one the other day and I loved it. So I'll be curious to hear what people come up with. So let me ask you all a question. Do you have everything you need? Have you thought about what you're going to eat, how you're going to get started on Shake the Sugar? What are your thoughts? I'm so impressed that we're so timely.
I'm going to add another. I still am not able to get my screen back to the original chat. I don't know what's going on. I've tried to re-sign in. So is there a way that you can send me those bonuses in a different format?
What I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to email me.
Okay. So
it's Stacey@staceyportugal.com. STACEYPORTUGAL. You can certainly email me.
Okay.
Great. Everyone else have what they need?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so on that note, I thank you all so much for participating. As you start to plan, once again, be sure you've done your prep work, clean out your environment, go to the grocery store. You've got a great food list within that PDF. Do the meal planning, just like we've discussed. I think it's really important, just like Tony said, keep it simple. You know, people sometimes they overthink what they're going to eat, but the reality is pick your protein, pick those 2 or more servings of fat, and then if you choose, you can have the carbohydrate, whatever the carbohydrate is. You can have less than 25 grams. Start working this plan and see how you feel. And for questions that you specifically want me to answer, you're going to use this hashtag. I'm going to put it in the chat box. It's hashtag Q4Stacey. And that is in the Go From Cravings to Control Facebook group only. I'd be happy to answer your questions one-on-one. And then Tony, email me and I'll get you your bonuses. And anybody because I see we've had a few people who are not on screen, you probably called from your mobile device. You can go ahead and email me also, and I'll be happy to give you your bonuses. Sound good, everyone?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks again for participating, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.